Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Woo, boy. That was an ass kicking. Actually, I think is probably the right word, because the game is still happening. We're like, what are we waiting for at this point? They're down by like 30 points. So let's chalk it up to a successful 2 games in Memphis. The Wolves stole home court advantage. This game does not matter. It's a throwaway. I guess it matters to Declan because you had Wolves in 4 there for you had that market
5.
Cornered for like
Wolves in 5. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Wolves in 5.
In fact, can we do it? Can we fire it up? Can we fire up a little Wolves in 5? Wolves in 5.
Wolves in 5.
Wolves in 5. No.
I got nothing for you guys.
No? Okay.
I got nothing for you guys. I got nothing for you guys. If anyone is going to be positive, I insist we fire the Bally Sports North theme, because that's the only way.
They're going to fire me.
Yeah, what's the spin here? So it's 120-92 as we sit here. The Timberwolves have been outscored in the paint 58-30.
Yeah.
And they've been out-rebounded. Well, not as bad anymore. 45-30. What's the positive spin here, Judd?
Coming up next. So the last time I checked in, credit to Jim Pete, he can't do it, but Dave Benz, when they started to go on, they started to get a few points. I was going to say a run. That was the stupidest thing. When they started,
when they scored a basket,
points, he's like, it's a lot to chip away at, but gotta never know.
Yes,
in fact, you know what? You could almost sing the theme song while doing the play-by-play. Oh, the Wolves just got a basket, so it's not hopeless as it looks. Please stay tuned.
Oh, my gosh. All right, so do you take this game and just completely flush it? Are there things that you sort of... I guess let me throw it out there, all right? I hated the fouls that Karl-Anthony Towns picked up early. He winds up with 2 fouls early, picks up the third with like 7 minutes. Now, Finch had some faith in him and said, I'm going to keep you in the game the rest of the first quarter, or at least until your normal shift is up, so to speak. Your normal rotation is up. And then he kicks the right leg out on the 3-point attempt.
Yes, I know.
Which is like he does that like once every couple weeks, maybe even more than that. It's such an immature thing. And then to turn around and throw your arms up and chirp at the official, it's like that. Like that type of thing, it's so hard to get past that type of immaturity and think, okay, the Wolves can persevere through a rocky game or two and get back on track. Like, I still think they have a good chance to win the series. And ultimately, if you would have asked me before the series started, would you take a split in Memphis? Absolutely, take it and run to the bank. But at some point, Karl-Anthony Towns just has to grow up on the basketball court. You can't commit fouls like that and then complain to the official and throw your arms up in the air. Somebody in the YouTube comment section here, Mason Schmidt said, Jarrett Culver's in the game.
Yep.
This game is so bad.
Josh Okogie is in the game for the Timberwolves, and Jarrett Culver is checked into the game. This game it's 124-92, and the Wolves just shockingly missed, I believe, another 3-point attempt.
So, all right. So, to what extent do you just flush this and say, listen, whatever, game 1 was enough. Now it's back to Target Center. And how much do you say, ooh, okay, that's not good?
Strategically, part of the problem is as far as guys getting into foul trouble early.
Cheers.
Yeah, my coffee, it ain't just coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I love my Surly, but let's just say we broke out the big boy.
Need a little something stronger than a Kahlua.
Kahlua coffee.
A little spicy seltzer for me. Spicy seltzer.
Very nice. Very nice.
Okay.
So as far as the foul trouble goes, in the first quarter, I think part of the problem was the fact that Steven Adams actually got in early foul trouble, sort of showed, and I don't know why the Grizz didn't realize this, but there's no question Memphis is a better team matchup-wise against the Wolves if Steven Adams isn't playing.
I know.
So I think
he's 2 fouls, 3 minutes. It's like, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Because now it's like, oh my God, he's never going to get back in. And so that exposes a problem. So here's my thing with Kat. I think I think through my Kahlua and coffee haze, I've come to realize what the problem is partially with Kat and like the kick out. Because you're right, he does that a lot, and it's the stupidest thing. And his foul trouble, especially from an offensive standpoint. And you know what I think part of what gets him in trouble is? Now, first of all, let me make this extremely clear. I think he's a star player, and he is an exceptional athlete, okay? So what I'm about to say, I am not saying that, like, this is no dig against Kat. But when he drives the lane or kicks out, there's times that he does so, and it looks so uncoordinated. Like he lopes down the line, and his arms and legs are flailing at times. I think it becomes more tempting for the officials to call that. Like if he could somehow keep his moves within his body, because he flails a lot.
He flails. Yeah, he's a flailer.
But I think he thinks, but I don't know if he thinks the flailing works or if he just can't help himself. But the flailing, I think, is what gets him into a large amount of trouble because it looks so disjointed that officials glom onto that and call it. I think that is actually a problem. I don't know if it can be fixed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's a flailer. He's definitely a flailer. He's kind of an emotional flailer too.
Oh, that's absolutely true. But I mean, it's going down the lane like this.
Yeah. Do you ever notice too when he runs back on defense? I'm gonna kind of demonstrate it here because I've had a seltzer too. He like really puts his back in and then he takes off. Like I noticed this in the last few. Like I don't know if it's just because he's a large human, but the way he's
a little uncoordinated. Even though it's crazy because he's one of the most skilled 7-footers the NBA has ever seen. Like he can drive from the top of the key. He can shoot better than any 7-footer in NBA history, but he's a little bit uncoordinated. But I think like that offensive foul, the kick out with the leg, that goes beyond just like quirky coordination. That's a calculated kick out with your leg, and then the ref calls you on it, and your first instinct is to well, what do you mean, right? It's a very narcissistic behavior. It's a weird personality quirk that definitely cost the Timberwolves games.
But it doesn't work. That's what drives me crazy. It consistently does not work. So what are you doing, dude? I think another problem with so like as far as this game goes, if you're Chris Finch and the Wolves, you've got to you got to dismiss it and say we got a game there. That's great. But as far as like what you saw, and this is what makes a playoff series so much fun. Memphis made some nice adjustments. Like they did some, and the Wolves played or are playing a bad game, but they definitely focused more on Ant. D'Lo remains cold, which is a problem at this point. And they definitely focused more on Kat. And so I guess my question for game 3 on Thursday back here is what are Chris Finch's adjustments to Memphis's adjustments going to be? Because there are definitely some things that Memphis did differently, and you can't now say, well, after one game, you know what? They got it figured out. We're screwed. So what do you do on Thursday night at Target Center to adjust?
Well, I think the biggest things, like if you just, it's funny, sometimes the box score doesn't tell you the whole story. Like the game against the Clippers, you look at the box score and you're like, oh, wow, okay, Paul George went off. The Clippers had a bunch of advantages in certain areas, but the Wolves won the game. Like the box score wouldn't tell you the whole story there. The box score kind of tells the story here tonight. The Grizzlies shot almost 50% from the field, and the game is officially over now, 124-96. If you're joining us here, thanks for hanging out with us, you fellow Timberwolves masochists. You can't get enough discussion about one of the ugliest losses of the season. But we appreciate you. Please click the subscribe button on the Score North YouTube channel and the like button on this video because we'd like to spread the word about this therapy session here. But Grizzlies shoot almost 50%. Wolves shoot under 40%. Wolves go from shooting pretty lights out from 3 in game 1 to shooting under 30% from 3 in game 2. Rebounds, Memphis, an 8 rebound advantage, a 10 rebound advantage on the offensive boards. Wolves only had 4 offensive rebounds in this game, so possessions were just... So they weren't shooting well, and then they weren't getting second chances. Which, like, so okay, how are you going to make up for it? Well, you better be knocking down some threes or doing something. Like, it's really hard to not shoot well and then not get second chances. I mean, it's unless the other team is just turning the ball over at will and you just get more shots off. But But the biggest discrepancy in the box score tonight, well, turnovers were 20-12 too. The Wolves had almost double the turnovers. Points in the paint. Memphis had 60 points in the paint to the Wolves 34. Now, Ja Morant is one of the best paint scorers of any size in the NBA, and so they're going to have a rebounding advantage in the series. They're going to have a points in the paint advantage in a lot of ways. And so if you aren't changing the math on three-pointers in other areas, you aren't winning. And you're going to get drubbed by 25 or 30. And so this is one of those games where I actually think, there's the box score kind of tells you, you gotta grab more rebounds when you get home, and you either need to do a better job matching Memphis in the paint or canceling them out with three-pointers, or just do a better job of preventing Ja Morant from getting into the paint at will. There was one moment where Patrick Beverley, so Ja Morant was loading up a three from the top of the key in the second quarter, and Patrick Beverley sprints out to run him off the three-point line. And then Ja Morant just dribbles into the paint and gets a layup, and I think it was a layup and an and one. It's like, I would actually rather take my chances. I'm not going to give him a wide open look, but like I would stop short of running him off the three-point line, put a hand up, and make him hit threes. I don't want him running off the three-point line to get in the paint where he's one of the best scorers in the NBA. So that's a thing too. So I don't know. The box score says a lot for this game, boys.
I didn't like too the fact that I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, 20 total fouls called in the first quarter.
Dude, the Wolves were in the bonus with 9 minutes to go in the first quarter.
But here's what I didn't like, and I think Ben's broached this on the telecast, and I actually think it's a detriment. He talked about the fact that the Wolves got out of their game because of all the fouls called. But to what you just said, Phil, the truth is the Grizzlies were called for a ton as well. The Wolves tonight, for lack of a better term to start off with, you guys, felt to me way too mentally fragile. Like, this is the playoffs, guys. You're going to have to adjust. Things are going to go incredibly wrong. It felt like Saturday that I think the Wolves trailed in the entirety of the game on Saturday for like 43 seconds or a ridiculously small amount of time. So everything went right, and they played a really good game. But that being said, this is a playoff series in which a ton is going to go wrong. And it felt like when things didn't go the Wolves' way tonight early on, Pat Bev, who, look, I love the intensity, but you can't melt down. Like, he could have drawn a second technical in the first quarter and been tossed. You've got to keep it together. And I didn't like the fact that it really felt that the officiating got the Wolves off their game, when really the officiating was I thought too much. Nonetheless, they were calling fouls on both teams constantly.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like the Wolves got screwed and the Grizzlies weren't being called.
And how many we had like 2 or 3 reviews in the first 3 minutes of the game too. It was ridiculous. Just the game started 10 minutes later than advertised, and then they stopped the game 100 times for fouls and reviews. And listen, it's not an excuse because the Grizzlies had to stop the game too. But I think being able to get into a flow and get up tempo. The other thing too is, the Wolves, I think too much has been made about, well, the Wolves lack playoff experience, as if Memphis has all sorts. Like, Memphis played a series last year with this nucleus. So both these teams lack playoff experience. And I think when the crowd seemed pretty dead because of, I don't know, maybe it was late arriving, maybe it was the whistles and stuff, but like once the Grizzlies got rolling in the second quarter, the arena came to life. And I think sometimes when the Wolves, when the other team starts going downhill and the snowball starts to build and the crowd starts to get into it and emotions start to get high and it gets a little bit chippy, the Wolves sometimes have a hard time just taking a step back and taking a deep breath. And I thought tonight was one of those instances where it was just like they didn't have a counterpunch for the energy that Memphis was bringing. Also, let's be honest, man, like, this was kind of a must-win for Memphis. You do not want... I know this sounds... Stugatz made the joke on Le Batard. Declan and I were laughing about this off there. Like, you don't want to go back to Minnesota down 2-0. That's a fierce place historically to be. But, like, you don't want to go... It doesn't matter if it's Minnesota or any place. You don't want to be down 2-0 off of your first 2 home games. So this was kind of a must-win for Memphis. Not that the Wolves weren't taking it seriously, because I think that they were, and they just got beat tonight. But like, the mission was accomplished in game 1. Take home court advantage, get back to Minnesota with at least 1 win under your belt. And then now the next couple nights, you're going to have energy. The building's going to be rocking. You're going to have all those things. There's a chance that officials might start to sway your way. So ultimately, tonight was a huge buzzkill. But overall, the first two games are a huge, huge positive and win for the Timberwolves.
Jaden's point here, though, is a good one. D'Lo tonight, 3 of 11, and he had 11 points, 2 of 7 from 3.
He's settling for too many crappy shots, man.
It up. But I mean, he's got to pick it up. You will lose if you don't get more from him. He can't. Yeah. I mean, this is back.
You will lose
games now, and it's a win too. But I mean, this is back-to-back games of just from the field, just horrible shooting.
Yeah.
And he was doing his best to obviously draw fouls, and like that was clearly a MO of him. But to be honest, like in the first half, Kat attempted 0 3-pointers. D'Lo was 1 of 3. I know Anthony Edwards was bricking a ton in the first half, but it just felt like the Wolves got completely away from their game. And even when they were taking threes, like they weren't good looks. Outside of Jaden McDaniels, like literally airballing 4 3-point attempts today, it just didn't seem like the Wolves were playing their game. And they tried to play this fast, up-tempo game like Memphis tries to do. And if they do that, they're going to lose. It'd be like if the Wild tried to play in a track meet style game with Colorado. Like, you're going to lose. They literally stumbled to their opponent.
I think, there's some lineups where I think the Wolves, like when Anthony Edwards is out there, like there are definitely some lineups where I want the Wolves to play up tempo. But like to your point, you got to be careful in that building against that team with certain lineup combinations that you don't get run out of the gym like they did. On the 3-point thing, to Dex's point, Kat shot 1 3-pointer tonight. 1 3-pointer tonight.
Yep.
In game 1, what did he shoot in game 1? It was a small handful.
I don't know. He had 29. I think
he had 5. He had 5. He took 5 in game 1. But it's just foul trouble was part of it, and they obviously took the starters out toward the end of the game. But how can you scheme him to shoot 6 or 7 3-pointers and not forced looks? Just how do you get him open? And maybe you got to get creative, because obviously now that these two teams have played each other 6 times, they know how you traditionally try to get him open.
Yep. And
like in the regular season, you run pick and roll, D'Lo or Ant or whoever's running the point, Patrick Beverly, you run pick and roll. Kat drops out to the wing or top of the key, gets a quick flash open, and he shoots a 3, right? Well, they are very much locked in on what was working in the regular season. So now it's all about the chess match. How can Chris Finch create 5, 6, 7 open 3-point looks for one of the great shooters in the NBA, and which he is. Like, he's one of the best shooters in the NBA, and he can't get a shot off.
Steven Adams, bring him back. Play him more, Memphis. Play him more. Saturday was so great because he couldn't match up with Kat, and they wouldn't take him out enough.
They should let Steven Adams score like 6 consecutive points in the first quarter. Just open the lane. Let Steven Adams get 6 points. Like, Steven Adams is off to a great start. We can't take him off the court.
We can't stop him. You might want to leave him out there for all 4 quarters. 48 minutes. Play him 48.
All right, what else stood out to you guys? What else? Actually, I saw this nugget from the first. We were talking about the fouls and just like the dreadful pace in the first half of this game.
Yes.
And ESPN Stats and Information has this nugget that Memphis and Minnesota just combined to shoot 33 free throws in the first quarter, tied for the most in any quarter in any game over the past 25 years. Amazing.
Royce discussed this, and he's exactly right. And here's the thing. This is playoff basketball, okay? Can we please not call everything? Like, can we? It feels like they're itching to call. And look.
Well, they're trying to set the tone.
Yeah, but I don't need the tone. It's not like we're going to actually have fights. Like, there's no reason. Let them play through it, because like the games, this series for the most part, I don't think is going to be like a super artistic, attractive, oh my God, this is the best basketball, right? Like, it's playoff basketball. A lot of it's just a grind, which I'm fine with. That's great. But let them grind to a certain point. I'm not saying allow guys to mug each other, but I am saying this. Those reviews, early in the first quarter, were they necessary? Like, Pat Bev slapped down. Okay, that's a foul, but like, and then
is it a technical?
Vanderbilt got slapped in the face. Like, do we really need to take time to look? Yeah, he got slapped. He fell down. By the way,
I didn't think that was a flagrant either. I don't know.
And he embellished. But my point is, let him embellish and lay there and you just keep playing. Like I don't need to see the referees inject themselves to the point where they're setting records for free throws. It's not exciting and it slows the game down. Let the tempo at least exist, because it felt to me like tonight, especially in that opening quarter, there was zero tempo because they were whistling everything.
Yeah. I agree. And again, the officials didn't like. Or just to clarify, like the officials had nothing to do with the Wolves losing the game. No. It was more just about why are we starting the game with 33 free throws?
I want to watch the game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to watch guys blow a whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. This has nothing to do with the loss. It has to do with the fact that this is not going to be like a super attractive series. It's not like these calls now are going to get them to play really fun basketball. Yeah. Just let the series exist as it's going to exist.
Another sneaky thing that the Wolves have to overcome in this series is, and it was kind of like this in the regular season too, Memphis is not the best matchup for JARRETT Vanderbilt, which is weird because I feel like he can find a way to make an impact against almost any team, but he's not really an impactful rebounder against Memphis. He's not gonna be shooting from outside, so they just kind of leave him unguarded in certain instances.
Yep.
And so he wound up playing only 9 minutes tonight. He was actually a -7 in the 9 minutes that he played. He knocked down the flagrant free throw that was his only point. 2 rebounds in 9 minutes. And in game 1, they only had him out there for 18. So he's only played 27 minutes in the whole series so far. And I just don't know, like, if it's not really a JARRETT Vanderbilt series, which, again, I feel like the way that he goes about playing, I feel like he can find ways to add value, getting hands in passing lanes, being an energy guy, grabbing some rebounds. So I'm not ruling him out for the series yet, but to this point, he hasn't really found a way to fit in and add value. And so if that's going to be the case, and you're going to have to run other guys out there for more minutes, whether it's, Jaden McDaniels or Naz Reid, who, by the way, Naz Reid knocked down a couple threes tonight, grabbed a couple rebounds, but man, he has stone hands sometimes. There was a couple plays where, again, it's like, dude, what are you doing? Just wide open in the paint, boom, ball bounces off his hand. So, they're going to have to find a way there's not really a way to get JARRETT Vanderbilt going in the way that you would get Kat going. Because Kat, you get him going by trying to get him open shots. Like Vanderbilt, you're not drawing up plays for Vanderbilt. So how can he find a way to make an impact and be out there for more than either 9 or 18 minutes when the Wolves get back home to Target Center? That's something to keep an eye on. So,
that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. But D'Lo, hit your damn shots, man. Hit some shots.
Just in general, though, they did not get very good production off their bench today. Jaden McDaniels played 21 minutes, aired a crap ton of threes. Malik Beasley was a -27 when on the court tonight. -24 when on the court tonight.
Yeah,
and Naz Reid just had some clunker with hands. They had moments too, and I know the Memphis played really well without Ja this year. I think they only lost 5 or 6 games or whatever it was. But they had moments where they could have pulled away and made the game a lot of it really interesting when Ja left the game. They were never able to do that. They never got quality minutes at all.
So so this is crazy. Again, the box score says so much about this game. The game was ugly to watch, but when you really look at it, so Karl-Anthony Towns played 28 minutes. Malik Beasley played 22 minutes. So these guys combined for 50 minutes and 3 3-point attempts. Those are pretty much your 2 best 3-point shooters, right? Karl-Anthony Towns and Malik Beasley. Mm-hmm. And in 50 minutes, they combined for 3 3-point attempts. Now, credit Memphis, especially with Towns, for just running him out. They just weren't giving him open looks. They were doubling him at times. So they did a good job. And with Beasley, I think they saw what happened in the first game, and they see what happens when he gets hot. It's let's run out there. Let's not give him open looks. But those guys can't be out there for 50 minutes and only shoot 3 3-pointers combined. That is, I can't emphasize this enough. If you're going to win this series, you have to hammer them at the 3-point line. If you aren't changing the math and having a huge mathematical advantage at the 3-point line, I don't think you can stand toe-to-toe with them, points in the paint, rebounds, offensive rebounds, getting to the free throw line. I don't think you can. I don't know if you can win another game in the series if you're not going to have huge advantages at the 3-point line.
This is where the lack of a big man that can play with Towns hurts them too. Because if you had that guy who could protect the rim and could allow Kat to roam, but the problem is you don't. Like, you've got guys, but they're not the guy, and that's where if this team had that player, it would give you flexibility. Because one of the most important things in game one was very simple. Kat didn't pick up his first foul till the third quarter, so he maintained a freedom to play. That disappeared quickly tonight. I think he had two fouls in the first quarter alone. So the reality is this: there is a very good chance that for the Wolves to take the next step, they are going to have to find a big man who can play on the floor with Kat at the same time, who can provide production. Because, Phil, I think you're right. Like, JARRETT does his thing well, but it's a very specified thing, and you're never going to run plays for him or expect him to score points. Nas, to me, is so hit and miss. Like, if Nas starts to shoot threes well, that's great, but it always goes away at some point. So the reality is the Wolves might be seeing, and what their downfall might be, is what we've been talking about for months, which is, can you find in the coming months somebody to pair with Kat to allow Kat the freedom that would probably at least keep him away from foul trouble a little bit more.
Yeah. The only, if you're wondering, how deep into the rotation can they dive into? I mean, really the only other option for playing time would be Greg Monroe, who they signed to a contract at the end of the season. I don't think Greg Monroe is going to be the key to unlock things here. And again, I don't know that there's like a crisis to react to here. You look at the score and say, "Oh my God, you got beat by almost 30." I don't know that there's a crisis here. I think D'Lo is the closest thing I would say to a crisis, because he was playing kind of like this down the stretch too. Now he bounced out of it for 2 or 3 games. Yep. But this is a soft salary cap league. He is a max player making, whatever it is, $30-35 million. He's right there next to Karl-Anthony Towns in terms of salary cap allocation. And you can't have these performances which he puts up, like these 3 for 11s where he's just hoisting these bad shots and disappearing. Like, dude, you are a max player. Like, there is a big 3 on this team on paper, and you are one of them. So I think the 3-point shooting has to be advantage Timberwolves going forward. And I think if they can do that, and if D'Lo can wake up at home for a couple games, they're still in a really good spot here because they stole game 1. But if those things don't happen, it could get ugly. So those are the two: D'Lo and 3-pointers, rebounding too. But they've held their own for the most part on the boards. The offensive boards tonight were swayed, but those are the two things.
And they do have to find a way to get Kat shots. Like the Grizzlies did a very good job, I thought, tonight of cracking down on Ant and Kat. So I guess my question for Chris Finch is, what are you going to do in game 3 to change that? Because like that's the great thing. Now we've seen the Wolves come out and win game 1. Now we saw the Grizzlies adjust and easily win game 2. So the question now is, what is Finchy going to do to sort of sway this back? And I'm not saying that the Grizzlies are going to go away from what they did tonight, but you got to find a way to combat it. Mm-hmm. Like, there's got to be something that you at least make an effort to do that.
But you know what? I will say this too. I don't want them to just get smoked the next 3 games, but like this back and forth chess match, you win game 1, you get smoked in game 2. Now you go to the film room, you adjust. Like, this is perfect postseason experience. Mm-hmm. This is great. Like, you need this. You needed to get drubbed in a game, and then what does the chessboard look like? What's the counter move? How do we keep our composure? Okay, this is happening here. Like, the chippiness that goes into playing a team 4 times in the regular season, and then 4, 5, 6, 7 more times in the postseason. Like, you need this to take steps forward in the Western Conference. So maybe I'm Mr. Glass half full here, but I'm whatever. Like, they got their asses kicked tonight, but they're sitting here in the playoffs for the second time since 2004. This is what happens. You bounce back. I mean, hell, and remember the best series in franchise history was the Sacramento Kings in 2004. They got smoked in Game 6. Smoked. They got beat by like 20 points in Game 6 and then came back home for loading up the clips and the Uzis and the silencers, some joints with some silencers on them, KG. Like, it happens. You get smoked. Memphis is a really good team. Sorry, Dex, I know you thought they were going to sweep the series, but like...
No, it's okay.
This is how it works. Come back at home and throw another punch, baby. Let's get
Michael Stone's right.
Let's get it. Mm-hmm. You guys sound like K-Fan right now. Reality check just lost by 30. What?
I need to see. I need to see.
So the series is over because they lost. Like they stole home court on this trip to Memphis. That's the most important thing.
Right. But come back tonight and at least play a representative game. I mean, 30 points is embarrassing.
It happens. I'm not gonna.
I need to see a lot.
I'm not too worried. This series goes at least 6 still. They will win at least another game in this series.
It should go 6. But I need to see a lot more. I was disappointed. Okay. I don't like the fact that it got away from them initially because of mental weakness that this team has displayed previously. I hate that. Be tougher. I mean, Pat Bev, come on, man. And Pat Bev, don't melt down. Don't melt down. Be tough. You're tough, dude. You're Chicago tough. I want to see that. Kat, be tougher. Like this is the most.
Well, Kat's not tough. Kat's not.
I know,
tough.
but get tougher. D'Lo, get tougher. Like that. This is what I want to see. I don't want to see, well, things aren't. This team drives me nuts at times because it's like, well, things didn't go our way in the opening quarter, and then they start to. It's like, yeah, you know what? The officiating was calling way too many fouls on both teams. It can't throw you off your game completely.
Right, but like, I guess my question back to the room here, in terms of like the panic side of the fans, and maybe Judd is, what did you expect?
I'm not
Memphis is one of the best teams in the NBA. Memphis has one of the best players in the NBA. They're the best rebounding team. They play great defense. At home, they're really hard to beat.
I'm not panicked.
They only lost 11 home games all year.
I'm not panicked. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off by performance, and I want these guys to be mentally tougher. I hate weak teams. I hate mentally weak. Woe is us. We got too many fouls called. That's what I want. You can lose, but lose in a representative way. Don't just let your guard down and be like, well, nothing's going right for us. Because that's the crap that like D'Lo. It's mental. Kat, it's mental. Come on. You need more than that.
Okay, this guy chimes in and says, you guys have no idea what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. Be more specific, because we're literally arguing right now. So are neither one of us is right? None of us are right?
I don't say a lot on the show. I just make predictions that don't happen.
But you were miffed by tonight's performance.
I wasn't.
No, Declan.
Miffed?
You're not miffed.
They were Declan's miffed because he thought the Wolves were going to sweep Memphis, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm not panicked. I'm pissed.
This was like when the Wolves won Game 1, it basically said, okay, this is going to be a series of some kind. It didn't guarantee that they were just going to like outplay Memphis for every game in the series. So
I agree with that.
There's definitely some things, but I'll say it was my last thought here, and we can wrap this and drink the rest of our libations before hitting the head on the pillow tonight. But like, if the Wolves don't shoot better from downtown, and if D'Lo doesn't show up, there's going to be more games like this. If those two things happen, if D'Lo shows up and the Wolves shoot threes at a clip like they did in Game 1, Memphis might be in trouble, especially at Target Center.
If D'Lo does not show up for the entirety of the series, we have conversations, difficult ones to have about
off-season. I actually don't even think the conversations are difficult in the off-season.
Well, but my point is
he's being paid to do specific things, and if he's not going to do specific things, then there's better ways to spend $35 million.
Correct. You can't be part of a big three if you're going to shrink when the big three are needed.
Yep. And if Kat's going to be a guy that, listen, he's a unicorn, so you just have to kind of live with his temperamental personality. You can't, you need everything else to be solid. Like you need mental toughness, and I think Anthony Edwards brings a lot of that. He's also 20 years old, so it's hard to fully lean on him. But like if you're going to live with a unicorn that has just kind of a soft temperamental personality, but god dang it, the guy puts up 25 and 15 and shoots threes, so whatever. He needs to be insulated with guys that aren't going to get thrown off or shoot 3 for 11 every other night. So We'll see. Listen,
see, I got
playoffs,
you,
baby. This is the playoffs, baby.
I got you to my.
This
I got
is
you
great.
to come to my end of the street. I like that.
I love this. Inject all of it. We're here for the whole experience, okay? You can't just sign up for they won game one. No, like this is it. This is what happens.
No,
this
but
is the playoffs.
Right, but we are a show that offers the reality of the predicament. That's what I like about our show. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, like, you're 1,000% right. I'm here for the whole thing. Playoffs are great, but when the Wolves play like crap and wilt and melt like the Wild used to, just a bunch of mentally weak saps, I don't like that.
Can I get out? I just want to throw this out before I forget. Before I drink too much red wine here, I want to write that down prediction right now here. All right,
write this down.
So, this series going into Game 5 will either be tied at 2 games apiece, or the Timberwolves will be leading 3-1. So what I'm saying is, for anyone who's, oh my God, the Grizzlies came alive, the Grizzlies aren't going to just win the next 2 games. The Wolves will either have a 3-1 lead going into Game 5, or the series will be tied at 2 games apiece.
All right.
They will be fighting. They're in this. This is great. I freaking love this. People love your commentary here, by the way. So many people. Judd is great. This is the Judd that I came for.
Ryan, thank you
Quit enabling Judd's negativity, okay? There's enough negativity.
Why don't you fire up the BSN theme song?
Chris Finch. It's a 1-1 series. Coming back home to Minnesota.
Phil Benz.
Oh, amazing. I love it. Sometimes Jim Pete will just ignore, like when they're like they're gonna blow out game in the fourth quarter, and Ben's just like, oh, they cut it to 17, and Jim Pete's like, dude, come on now, game's over.
He did that tonight. He just checked out on Benz. He couldn't take it anymore.
Oh, amazing. All right, any final thoughts from you guys before we?
Yes. Can I make a plea? One last plea to Dave Benz. Never mention a 2-for-1 opportunity again. Every time the Wolves score a basket late in a quarter, he's like, opportunity for a 2-for-1.
Well, 2-for-1.
I don't need a 2-for-1. The only 2-for-1 I want is at Surly Brew Hall, and I'll talk to them about that.
Exactly. All right, Dex. Wolves in 5. Wolves in 5,
baby. Wolves in 5.
You don't sound too confident.
Wolves in 5. Wolves in 5.
Here, go Dex. I
get to shave these whiskers off my face here in like 10 minutes. I'm really excited. I'm excited about that. Yeah, I said I would keep it if the Wolves continue to win. That was my.
So you meant like not winning series. You meant like that they're just if they swept through the whole playoffs, then you'd have some kind of a beard. Okay.
I would have kept this going if the Wolves continued to win.
I like the David Spade whiskers.
Yeah, I don't.
The Joe Dirt look.
I look terrible with them. I can't do it.
Well, your hair looks good though. So.
Well, the hair looks great, but still.
Yeah. All right, boys. All right. That was pretty atrocious performance. But hey, this is playoff basketball, baby. We got you covered. Click that subscribe button on the Score North YouTube channel and the like button so we can spread the word about these therapy sessions when needed, celebration sessions when warranted. We'll see you guys tomorrow for Write That Down. I'm Mackie and Judd.